Why didn't the Europeans settle in large numbers in Africa, like they did in America and Oceania? So we know that the Europeans settled in the Americas. They conquered the Americas. They displaced they replaced the natives. And today, if you look at the Americas, North America, South America, a significant percentage of the population is of European origin. You look at Oceania, which is mainly Australia and New Zealand, a significant percentage, majority of the population is of European origin, right? So they settled down in the Americas. They settled down in Australia and New Zealand. Why not Africa? Why not India? They could have done the same thing. If the Europeans wanted, after they took complete control of India, they could have annihilated the Indian population and they could have settled down in India. And the same thing they could have done in Africa. They had complete control over Africa. Why didn't they settle there? They treated India as a place from where to extract unlimited quantities of resources. And they enriched themselves immensely as a consequence. And the same thing about Africa. Huge continent, the largest continent, full of natural resources. And they exploited that to their heart's content. Why didn't they settle down there? Climate. Very simple. The Europeans, uh, the colonizers, were of what ethnicity? Initially, it was the Spanish. Then it was the Italians, some Italians as well. And you had the Dutch, you had the Danes to some extent, Denmark. And then you had the British, the Anglos, the Anglo Saxons. These folks, even the Germans, the Belgians, and I'm sure there's more, okay, but you get the point. All European nations. Now, if you look at a map of Europe, yeah, let's go to the map. Let's see what kind of place they live in. They live in higher latitudes. If you look at the southernmost point of Spain, it's at the latitude 36 point something. And typically, it's if you look at England, London, the latitude is 51. They come from very cold places, and they can't. Hot climate isn't good for them. It's not something they enjoy. So about 100,000 Englishmen subjugated and controlled the whole of India, but they preferred to live in hill stations and all, and they did not enjoy the hot climate that exists in the southern parts of India. They didn't like it. Same for Burma, etc. And Africa has all kinds of climate, but very hot climate overall, equatorial and tropical and so on. And then you have the Sahara desert climate um, and so on. So the climate is something that did not agree with them. When it comes to North America, the climate was much more like what they are used to in Europe, right? Especially, well, you know where. And even when it comes to Australia, the majority of the continent is empty. The Europeans have only settled in the southern and eastern parts of Australia, the cooler parts of Australia. If you look at Melbourne, the you can see that the latitude is minus 38. If you look at Sydney, it's minus 33. Brisbane is kind of hot at minus 27. Even that is cool climate actually. And let's not talk about Adelaide because of what happened today, but yeah. And New Zealand is a pretty cold country. So they preferred to settle down permanently in places that had climates that they were accustomed to. And the other places they preferred to colonize and occupy and exploit through extraction, but not settle down permanently. I think it had a lot to do with climate.